Good morning, students. Today, now we are going to study about the second part of the lesson, that is about electromagnet. In the previous chapter, previous video, we have discussed about the magnetic field lines and the patterns of different conductors and their magnetic field lines, like a straight conductor, a circular loop, and a solenoid. Now we will be studying about the electromagnet. Electromagnet is a solenoid with a soft iron core. It is usually prepared by placing a soft iron core in a solenoid or by winding a large number of turns of an insulated wire, generally insulated copper wire, around a cylindrical soft iron core. An electromagnet shows magnetic properties only as long as electric current flows through the solenoid. It loses it loses the magnetic property as the current in is switched off. This is because of soft iron has less retentivity. Retentivity is referred as the capacity of a material to retain magnetic property. Retentivity is defined as the capacity of a material to retain magnetic property in itself. Electromagnets are based on the magnetic field of electric current. The iron core of a solenoid produces magnetic field as iron gets magnetized due to magnetic induction, as you can see in the figure. Advantages of a electromagnet for us. What are the advantages are: an electromagnet gets demagnetized as soon as the current is switched off. This is not possible for us with the permanent magnet. If the permanent magnet is demagnetized, then it will not be going to again get magnetized. But in electromagnet, this is a remarkable property of an electromagnet, that an electromagnet get demagnetized as soon as the current is switched off and again get magnetized as soon as the current is on. Second property is the strength of the magnetic field of an electromagnet can be easily changed by changing the strength of the current in the coil or the number of turns in the solenoid. Means, if we want to change it is in electromagnet, it is possible for us to change the magnetic field. In a permanent magnet, whatever the magnetic field it is having, the magnetic field is going to be the same. We can't change the magnetic field. But in an electromagnet, we can change the magnetic field by two ways. One, by changing the current, or by changing the number of turns. Means there are two ways for increasing and decreasing the magnetic field. We can increase or decrease magnetic field by increasing or decreasing the current, or by increasing or decreasing the number of turns. And the third remarkable property of electromagnet is the polarity of electromagnet can be changed by reversing the direction of current in the solenoid. As in the starting of the chapter, when we have discussed that magnet exists in two poles, and in a permanent magnet the poles are fixed. We can't able to change the poles, but here we can able to change the polarity of permanent magnet cannot be changed, but for electromagnet we can change the polarity. We can change the polarity by changing the direction of current. So these are the remarkable properties of electromagnet, which had made us used in in our day-to-day life. Now we will discuss about the uses of electromagnet. Electromagnet is used in construction of large number of electrical devices like electric bells, loudspeakers, electric motors, electric fans, telephone, and insulators. As you can see in the picture, we are using these electromagnet in a circuit breaker, miniature circuit breaker, which we have seen MCB. Here also it is also based upon the electromagnet. In this one, the basic circuit breaker consists of a simple switch connected to another metallic strip of an electromagnet. The diagram on the left shows the typical electromagnetic design for us. The hot wire of the electric circuit connects to the two ends of the switch, as you can see in the figure. When the switch is flipped to the on position, electricity can flow from bottom terminal through the electromagnet up to the moving contact, across the stationary contact, and out of the upper terminal. So this is how the miniature circuit. And if this current is not flowing, it automatically the button will get tripped because of overflowing it, and the current will stop flowing into the circuit. The second use for us is about the electric bell. As you have studied in your class 7 about the electric bell, the electromagnet forms the core of the electric bell. When the bell button is pressed, the circuit is closed and the current flows. The electromagnet becomes magnetized, attracting the soft iron armature, and the hammer strikes the gong. However, the circuit will break and the electromagnet lose its magnetism, and the springy metal strips pull back the armature and the circuit is closed again. This process repeats, as you can see in the figure, continuously. The bell in the first picture, the gong and the bell is not there. In the second picture, bell and the gong is hitting it. So this is how the electromagnet is used in the electric bells. The third is next is about MRI, magnetic resonance imaging. Magnetic resonance imaging we have seen. This is a popular method of medical imaging that provides views of tissues in the body. It is a huge scanner containing a solenoid made up of superconductors. Actually, in MRI, that is magnetic resonance imaging, it, as you know, that as you have studied in bio, that that neuron is the basic unit of our nervous system. So a characteristics features of neuron has the ability to produce and transmit electrical messages. This you have studied in bio. These electrical messages are extremely weak. Electrical current produces by the movement of sodium and potassium coil between the inside and outside of the neuron. We have learned that electric current always produces a magnetic field. So these electrical messages produces a temporary magnetic field. These magnetic fields are very weak and about 1/1000th of the Earth's magnetic field. Means whatever electric current is produced in our body is 1/1000th of the Earth's magnetic field. The two main organs in our body where the large magnetic field are produced are heart and brain. The magnetic field inside the body forms the basic of generating and functional images of any part of the body at any angle and direction in a relatively short period of time. This is done using a technique called as MRI. This MRI is diagnostic medical imaging technique developed by P.C. Raymond and Peter Manfield. They have got the Nobel Prize for this in 2003 for this technique. This technique has allowed visualization of heart and brain with anatomical details at any angle and direction. So this is one of the important thing which we have developed. Then other uses of electromagnet is it is used in transporting heavy loads like big machines, steel grinders and scrap iron objects for loading and unloading purposes. Then electromagnet is also used for separating magnetic substance like iron and steel from non-magnetic heap of a metal scrap. Then it is also used in accidental cases. They are used for removing pieces of iron from wounds or removing steel splinter from the eyes. Electromagnets are used for magnetizing the steel bars. One of the main use of electromagnets, do you know that it is about the magnetic elevation trains? Actually, magnetic elevation trains do not run on rail, but they float above them. A current pass in this one, how actually happens is a current passes through an electromagnet in the track, and on the train the magnetism produced lifts up the train, and the train runs on the trains floats on the rails, and it will be running it. This is all about the uses of electromagnet for us. Now we will be seeing the next topic, that is about the force on a current carrying conductor placed in a magnetic field. As we have studied in class 9 about the Newton's laws of motion, according to Newton's law of motion, that is about the third law of motion, every action has equal and opposite reaction. So in the starting of the lesson we have discussed that the current can produce magnetic field. Then Henri Marie Ampere has suggested that a current carrying conductor produces a magnetic field and exerts a force on magnet. Then a magnet should also exert a force and a current carrying conductor. So according to him, he has said that when an electric current can produce magnetic field, so then magnetic field also has to produce an electric current. So according to him, he has made an experiment, and he has showed that by his demonstration in his experiment. This experiment which you can see on the screen is called as kicking wire experiment. In this kicking wire experiment, he has taken a small aluminium rod, is suspended horizontally, as you can see, by means of two connecting light springs from the stand, and a strong horseshoe magnet, as you can see, it is been there placed such a way that the rod lies between the two poles with the field directly upwards. Then the key is pressed. Electric current is allowed to pass from one end of a conductor to the other. Then the magnet and it is observed that the wire is pulled downwards and the spring gets stretched. If the magnet is now removed, the aluminium wire return back to its original position. If the experiment is repeated by reversing the direction of current, now the rod will be moving upward. Means by this experiment we will be getting a conclusion that when a current carrying conductor is placed in a magnetic field, a mechanical force acts on a conductor which makes it to move. Means how actually happens is, when a current carrying conductor is placed in a magnetic field, it is going to experience a force, and because of this force it is going to move up or down. The direction of motion of the conductor depends upon the direction of current in the magnetic field. The second conclusion is that if you are changing the direction of the current, then the conductor either can move up or down. If you want it to move up, you have to send it from one side. Then if you want to change it to move downwards, then you have to change the direction of current. By changing the direction of current, we can change the motion of the conductor. Means either upwards or downwards or left and right we can do by changing the direction of current. Then the third conclusion is the direction of force acting on a current carrying conductor placed in a magnetic field is perpendicular to the direction of a force. Means the current is directly perpendicular to magnetic field. It is also perpendicular to the direction of magnetic field. In other words, we can say that electric current and magnetic field and the direction of force are at right angle to one another. Since the conductor moves due to the force, hence the current carrying conductor when placed in a magnetic field moves in a direction perpendicular to the direction of a current as well as perpendicular to the direction of a magnetic field. Means here we will be having the current, magnetic field and the motion of the conductor. All these three will be in a perpendicular to each other. Each of these three, motion of a conductor, direction of a current and magnetic field, all these three will be perpendicular to each other. Each of this is going to form a right angle with each other. The direction of force of a current carrying conductor current carrying conductor placed in a magnetic field will be reversed. Means we can change the force of a conductor by reversing the direction of current or by reversing the direction of magnetic field. Means if we can change the direction of the conductor by either reversing the current or by changing the magnetic field. Means north pole, south pole if we have taken, then south north we can change, and by doing this we can able to change the motion of a conductor. So there are two ways: by reversing the direction of current or by reversing the magnetic field we can change the motion of a conductor. Now we can see about the force on a current carrying conductor, how actually it will be working it. As you can see here, a horseshoe magnet is there, a strong magnetic field you can able to see. So when you place a current carrying wire in a magnetic field, the wire experiences a force. This is called as motor effect. The force acts perpendicular to both direction of a current and the direction of magnetic field. Because of it, it experiences a force. So how actually this happens is, when a current flows through a conductor, it produces a magnetic field. Means when the moment we are allowing a current to pass through it, at the time magnetic field will be generated in the conductor, plus magnetic field of a permanent magnet acting on a conductor. As you can see, a permanent magnet is also will be having its own magnetic field, and a current carrying conductor is also producing a magnetic field. These two magnetic fields interact with each other. Means the magnetic field of the permanent magnet and the magnetic field of the current carrying conductor, these both magnetic fields you can see in a yellow dot, where we can see magnetic fields. Both the magnetic fields will get interact with each other. The resultant magnetic field on one side of a conductor is weaker than the other side. Means one side of the conductor will have weaker and other side will be stronger. Hence the conductor experiences a resultant force in one direction and it makes the conductor to move. Means how the conductor is moving it is happening because two magnetic fields are interacting with each other, and the resultant one of the field which is stronger in that particular direction, the conductor can move either upwards or downward. This is how the force on a current carrying conductor can be experienced. Now force on a current carrying conductors, you can see in this figure how actually happens. In the first figure, the magnetic field north and south, they are stationary, uniform parallel magnetic fields we will be having it, and then a conductor is being placed, and then we will be having a conductor. When the current is allowed to pass, it is also going to produce a magnetic field around it. So a change in the direction of current in a wire will cause the change in the direction of force, with the direction of magnetic field staying constant. Means one time the motion of a conductor is downward, and second time the motion of the conductor is upward. This happens because we are changing the direction of current. By changing the direction of current, we can change the motion of a conductor. This is one method. In the second method, by changing the magnetic field also we can do. Like here you are having north pole and south pole is there. You can make as south and north, then also the conductor will be changed. The change in the direction of magnetic field will cause a change in the direction of force, with the direction of current in a wire staying constant. So there are two ways through which we can allow the magnetic motion of a conductor to change its position. Then we will be having now, till now whatever we were discussing was about the particles which were there in the current. In current we will be having the electrons are present. So electrons direction will be the same, the direction of current only for us. Means till now when we have discussed, the force experienced by a conductor was the electrons. Electrons will be flowing it in the conventionally in which the direction of the current was been flowing it. But if we are having a charge particle like alpha or beta, we are having it, these charge particles are not going to move in the direction of the current. These particles are not going to move in the direction of the current. So how they will be moving it? When you placed a charged particle of a magnetic field, it experiences a force. The direction of deflection for these charged particles can be predicted by using a Fleming's left hand rule that we will be studying in the second afterwards. So now how these charged particles are going to get understand. This is called as a Lorentz found that when a charged particle was moving it in a magnetic field in a direction other than the direction of a magnetic field, it experiences a force. This force was called as Lorentz force. The direction of this force is perpendicular to the direction of magnetic field as well as direction of motion of a particle. Since the direction of positive charge is same as the direction of a current, therefore the direction of this force is given by Fleming's left hand rule. But when a charged particle we are using it, if this charged particle is moving it in any direction, at the time if the charged particle moves parallel to the magnetic field, at the time angle between the magnetic field and the force is going to be 0. So in that case they are not going to experience any force. But if a charged particle moves perpendicular to the magnetic field, that is the angle with the charged particle and the magnetic field is 90 degree, at the time it is going to experience maximum force. Means here when the magnetic field is uniform, at the time it is not going to experience any force. But when it is perpendicular to the magnetic field, at the time it is going to experience a maximum force. And this force will be directly proportional to the length of the conductor. It will be directly proportional to the length of the conductor, and it is directly proportional to the magnetic field. Means the force is directly proportional to current, force is directly proportional to length of the conductor, force is directly proportional to the magnetic field. And this by this we will be getting the unit for magnetic field is known as Tesla. Tesla is the unit of magnetic field. How these charged particles are going to experience a force, you can see in this figure. Magnetic field, the cross marks we will be having as a magnetic field. We can see a positively charged particle and a negatively charged particles are there. A change in direction of the magnetic field will cause a change in the deflection of a charged particle with the direction of the particle staying constant. This is how you can experience. This is the parallel lines are the magnetic field lines are there, and a charged particle when it is entering into the magnetic field, this will be an experiencing a force. So magnetic fields are in the same direction, making a combined field stronger. Magnetic fields that are in the opposite direction makes the combined fields weaker, and this is how the particles will be experiencing a force. Now we will be seeing about the Fleming's left hand rule. As you can see it in the figure, your thumb will be giving the direction of force of a motion, the forefinger will be giving you the direction of magnetic field, and your middle finger will be giving you the direction of current. So this is how, if you are stretching your left hand, in this left hand the thumb will be producing you the direction of current, the direction of force or motion of a conductor. Then the forefinger will be giving you the magnetic field. Always the forefinger will be the magnetic field, and the middle finger is going to give the direction of current. So this we call it as a Fleming's left hand rule. So whenever we want to know about the direction of a current, in which direction the current is moving it, and the force of a conductor, out of these three we will be knowing two: constant magnetic field we know, the direction of a current we know. So we can able to find out the force, because in a force on a current carrying conductor placed in a magnetic field, at the time we will be knowing the magnetic field, we will knowing the direction of a current, and the thumb which will be showing us the force of a conductor or motion of a conductor, we can able to easily find out by using a Fleming's left hand rule, because magnetic field is constant for us, and the direction of current, because we are providing the current, in which direction the current is going in. And the third quantity, which is the force motion of a conductor, we can find out by using a Fleming's left hand rule. Then we will be having the application of this Fleming's left hand rule, that is about the electric motor. An electric motor is a rotating device which converts electrical energy into mechanical energy. Electric motor is used to drive various types of machine at homes and in industries. Various electrical appliances like fan, washing machines, refrigerators, mixers and grinders are used at homes, have electric motor fitted in them for their work. There are two types of electric motors for us, AC motor and DC motor. DC motor is called as a direct motor, a direct current, where the supply will be in one way, and in AC it will be in alternating current will be supplied for us. So as you can see in the figure, there is an magnet is being placed, armature coil is there, then we are having a split rings are there. Then we can able to find out how the principle of this electric motor will be. An electric motor is based upon a magnetic effect of current. When the electric current is passed through a conductor placed in a right angle to a magnetic field, a force experiences to both the magnetic field and the current acts on the conductor. This makes the conductor to move. The direction of motion of a conductor is given by Fleming's left hand rule. By using Fleming's left hand rule, we can find out the motion of a conductor, because we know the magnetic field, we know the direction of current. So by using Fleming's left hand rule, we can able to find out the direction of a motion of a conductor. Then here in a DC motor, we will be having a split rings will be there are 5 parts in construction of DC motor. One will be an armature coil, a rectangular shape which you can see. This is called as an armature coil. We are having a horseshoe magnet. Then we have a commutator or split rings. As you can see the rings which are there, these split rings are split into 2 parts, means one ring is divided into 2 parts which are insulated with each other and mounted on an axle motor and rotate with it. These 2 ends of the coils are permanently soldered to the 2 half rings. But if the split rings are used to reverse the direction of a current flowing in the coil every time the coil just passes the vertical position. Then we are having a battery. Then we are having the brushes. The function of brushes is to supply the current to the coil. When the brush B1 is positive and brush B2 will be always negative. You can see in this figure how this armature coil will be rotating it. Current in this arm is flowing from left to right. So the current stops flowing it once when the conductor is at 90 degree parallel to the magnetic field. At the time the current is going to become 0, because it is not going to experience any force. As we have discussed that when a conductor and a magnetic field are parallel to each other, at the time the angle between them is 0, so the force experienced by a conductor is going to be 0. But when the armature coil will be turning up at vertical position, at the time magnetic field and the conductor is going to be at a 90 degree angle, and the conductor is going to experience a maximum force. So this happens from both the sides of a armature coil, and because of this there will be a equal and opposite force from both the sides, and because of this rotational inertia it will get rotated, and continuously this coil will rotate, and it is going to produce a magnetic motor of a fan is going to be moved continuously. In this one we are converting the electrical energy into mechanical energy. There are some ways to increase the speed of the rotation of the coil of a motor. One is by increasing the current flowing in the coil, we can increase the speed. We can increase by increasing the number of turns in the armature coil. We can increase by increasing the area of cross section of a coil. We can increase by increasing the strength of the radial magnetic field. by increasing laminating the core, by using powerful electromagnet in place of a permanent magnet, we can increase the speed of this electric motor. So thank you for today. For the next class we are going to study about the electromagnetic induction part of the lesson. Thank you. Stay home, stay safe.